Hi, this is Swati. Welcome to the part 2 Azure Fundamental AZ-900 tutorial. In this section, we are going to cover in detail cloud computing, models, data center, and how to start with the free account, the demo part in the lab. Let's get started. There are three types of cloud model. The deployment model of cloud are public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. And the community cloud, it's a cloud infrastructure that allows system and services to be accessed by a group of several organizations to share information. It is owned, managed and operated by one or more organization in the community and a third party, or you can say the combination of them, and then they will share information. So a bigger cloud, in that multiple organization will be there and they share the information between each other. There are few examples: Java Point, Salesforce Community Cloud, but there are also some disadvantage as well. But this can be using in very frequently. Majorly there are three types of Azure cloud model. So the public, private and hybrid. So public cloud is service on that public internet and anyone who want to purchase. So cloud resources such as server, storage, etc. This is, resources can be used in the public cloud. Now in a private cloud, it consists of computing resources used exclusively by the user from one business or organization. And in a hybrid cloud, it's a combination of private and public, where the physical hardware will be located at the organization site on premise data center, where when you need to use the confidential data, you can use on the private cloud, and you can also take the services on public cloud internet, where you can use the server and the storage. This is your hybrid cloud. There are multiple benefits on all these public, private and hybrid. So let's see one by one. When you are using a public cloud, so capital expenditure, there will be no cost on that. So no capital expenditure to scale up, and application can be quickly provisioned and deprovisioned. An organization will pay only for what they use. Only for operational cost you need to use. On the other hand, private cloud hardware must be purchased to start up and maintains. Your physical hardware will be there. An organization have complete control over the resources and the security, which you don't have on public. So for the confidential data, like you have an organization of CBI or in an organization of payroll department or confidential stuff, they use private cloud, and organizations are responsible for hardware maintenance and updates. Usually the organization go for the hybrid cloud, which we are going to the third deployment cloud model, because the whatever application and things they can use publicly over internet, they you go for the public cloud, and whatever for the confidential things they go for the private cloud. So the combination of that is a hybrid cloud. So the benefit what we get, that it provide more flexibility, that organization can use uh, based on their uses they go for the private cloud, based on their uses they go for the public cloud. An organization determined whether to run their application where, which model they want to use. Organization controls security, compliance and the legal requirement in the hybrid cloud, which we can say that we are using these services. When you are using a cloud, so this is a delivery of cloud services, where the server, storage, database, networking, software, whatever you are using, these delivery, these services is done over internet, and the payment model will be you need to pay how much you use. So while using these model, it allow the faster innovation, flexibility, and the faster delivery. And based on the uses, organization use the mode either public, private, or hybrid cloud. In data center, traditionally, they will be big hardware, and it is very difficult to manage these large machines. So Microsoft, they have established their data center globally across world, and the approx like data center, 8 data center across 3 continent, and multiple many more, because when you see the recent details, and so here when Azure has set up the data center, you don't need to manage the infrastructure in cloud computing. So no need for the initial investment. It is within the less time and less operation and investment. It focus on a business here. There are some global Azure services that do not require to select a particular region, and it will be taken by default. So Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Microsoft Azure Traffic Manager, and Azure DNS. It will be automatically get selected, right? And the Docker will be, it will be the open source project, and Docker is one of the leading platform for managing these containers, right? And it is used for the deployment purpose, Docker. So the Docker container provide an efficient and lightweight approach to application deployment, because they allow different component of the application to be deployed independently in different containers. So there will be the availability zones. So there the redundant information in one or more data center, the availability zone are physically separated location within the Azure region, and that we use availability set to provide the additional fault tolerance. So Azure is having availability in the 60 region over 140 countries, and you can manage and apply the resources and the resource group level, like metering and billing policies, monitoring and alerts, scores, and access control. So Azure Compute is an on-demand computing services for running cloud-based application. And Azure virtual machine, that will be you need to create and use virtual machine in the cloud. It provide that IaaS and can be used into the variety of different ways. So these app services, uh, you can use these app services into the different wherever your application will be into the particular region. Now when we talk about this region, we always come this term CIA, that is confidentiality, integrity, availability. So we will also look more in that into the security and privacy compliance section. Let's take an example that we are using the region, and we are having the Azure Active Directory, and the uses into the particular region. So there is a team running on Microsoft 365, and in an employee log on my domain, say in particular company, and that is synchronized with the Active Directory tenant, and the enterprise ID is synchronized with 365 Office 365, and this synchronized uh, except that using the team, that is the my Azure ID. So what they are going to use, that your resource level and Azure ID level. So what they are going to do, we need to take the Azure subscription, whatever zone and the region you are going to choose. So we need that Azure subscription globally, and that Azure tenant a valid subscription on that region. So that there will be just in time access, administrative access, and the policy we are going to follow, that is zero trust approach. What is this zero trust approach? There will be no trust on anyone while evaluating all the signal thoroughly coming to that region. That is called your zero trust deployment, zero trust security. And there will be a just in time access. The moment you need to get access, you will be get, and remaining time it will get evoked, right? So there will be a two type of service we use, that is B2B and B2C, business to business and business to customer, where B2B bring your own identity managed by tenants, like developer will create an application in on-premise, that is your B2B, business to business. And B2C, when anybody can use this application, like tagged within the LinkedIn, Facebook, Salesforce, Twitter, etc. And we are working with the customer, we are getting that, and you are setting that, doing the changes on a particular application on a cloud. So like this we are going to work on this B2B and B2C. Now when we are talking on that, so let's see like what happen if the services, if you don't upgrade. So if you decide not to move to pay as you go pricing after your first 30 days, or once you have used your 200 credit, which you get free first time when you create, so any services you have deployed will be decommissioned, and you won't be able to access them. So to regain access, you need to move pay as you go model. After that, this thing, right? So that's all about the data center, and we can discuss more on the upcoming session, where we will discuss on the security and the compliance in the upcoming slide, or maybe next part 3. Now factor which will affect on the cost. So when we work on the data in a region, then we need to pay based on the payload. So whatever there are the best practices, and you can compress your data, again you can decompress your data based on your uses. So how we write the code so that billing should be generated, and so that we take caution. So there should be a good technical hand when you are working for particular region and you are billing. So it will be bits per second, or byte or operation billable unit will be there each billing period, right? So you have a database on that, and when you are working on the compute hours, so it will be get tracked by the IP address. When you are working on a region, what all factor will affect the cost. So you have two factor, that is DTI and DTO, that is your data transfer in and data transfer out. So your data transfer it within a region, whatever data transfer will in, there will be no cost, there will be no charge. But when from one region to another region the connectivity will happen, it's a kind of a toll gate and it is a chargeable. So data transfer out when one region to other region, it is going to be chargeable. So this data out or cloud in data in will transfer across the region within the cloud. Okay, so now what all these services are there? So we have CSP, web direct, their rate differs, and we save time, and the third party vendor will give, Azure will give differently, and based on that the purpose will be there. The discount depends on the region also. So if you are using, say for example, US East, yeah, so it is, if you can say, if you can check on that, when you're working it is most mature region, then the cost will be lesser. If you are using any other region and lowest price, then accordingly you can look. If you are using more mature, cost will differ. If you are using other region, cost will be differ. So the cost will be based on the region, it will be get computed on that. So now zone, for there will be a zone also for billing purpose. So how you will do that? It will be based on the bandwidth. So how much data is in, how much data is out. So that zone is for the billing purpose. If you say availability zone, then this is a different thing. If somebody is asking for the zone, this is a billing purpose. But availability zone, it's for the failure protection Azure that provide the data outer. So whatever the um, if the if any failure or any interruption is happening within a region, so there will be availability zone, backup will be there, region pairing will be done, and logical grouping for this billing will be happening, and it will be taken care. That will be your geographical region. That is your logical grouping of the billing purpose. That is called geographics. Okay, so logical grouping of for that data in, data out, all the billing thing for the all the zone. And for this billing, what we use, a pricing calculator. Okay, so what we use, there will be a reservation for billing discount, estimation, estimated cost will be associated with your infra, Azure storage account will be there for certificate authority, pricing details will be there, what all pricing details is required, like product, documentation, virtual machine, development pricing, production pricing, region, operating system, which type is there, what tier you are using, which instances you are using, what payment of currency you are doing. So everything will be get captured in your pricing calculator, and that will be on monthly basis on your virtual machine. It will be taken through based on the bandwidth Azure will give. So whatever is free and whatever is your usage, your intra region or the source region, so it will be routed via the destination region, upfront cost and the monthly cost. So how you are going to calculate? It is called total cost of ownership. We use TCO. Okay, so that is the tool used for cost saving during the migration of cloud. So for cost saving, the tool what we use, that is total cost of ownership, and three steps we follow before we use this tool TCO. That is your server database, your source destination, your storage and your network. So there will be an assumption, and the key assumption to improve the accuracy of TCO, and one should adjust the value when you use this storage cost, like your hardware, your software, your data center, your network, your virtualization, your infra support, person cost or IT person cost or Azure IT labor. So this report will be premise cost based on that, hosted will be on these facility and included the maintenance, what is the cost you have got through. So cost management is free of cost, that will be done, taken care by the Azure and the Cosmos, where you having a meter, right? So accordingly you are using the database, so that Microsoft will pay for the downtime, and the financial thing is guaranteed, and when while working with you are using working on the data center. When you have your Azure account and then you need to get the subscription and you need to create the resources. So when you go to portal.azure.com and the Azure account when you create, so after creating you need the subscription, right? What is this subscription? That you use for the billing purpose. In a home, when you use electricity and you pay whatever electricity you use, the meter will be there, and that uses of that electricity, for that amount you are paying, right? So this subscription is used for the billing purpose, whatever you use on Azure, right? And the current cost you are going to pay. So there will be a data group, the resources, and the Azure subscription. The Azure services will be like you need to create a resource, or resources will be there. Azure analytics, quick start center, virtual machine, app services, SQL database, right? So many more. And you can use these cloud services and Azure services. You have these cloud services which will be goes with networking, database, user management, web application, and many more. It will come like artificial intelligence, IoT, Kubernetes, and these are few examples where you can go with the CPU utilization, which is going to increase. Someday it will get increased, then accordingly you are going to pay, and someday it will use less, then accordingly you are going to pay. So Amazon and all, when you get some offer, right? They have taken subscription accordingly, like Black Friday, and you use the cloud and the subscription and the resources accordingly, and you pay. Normal day it will be like that. So it will be monitored, secured, and use only means whatever we are using, we are only paying for that. Maintenance will be there, and same operation and expenditure we are going to save money for here. So Azure product region, and under services we can extend the gallery. We can actually, when you create your account, you can go to the marketplace, and whatever resources or services you can need, you can actually it's a free, and you can take a trial version, you can create, and you can use the resources. So means uh, the combination of these resources, collection of these resources, are called the resource group, which is a logical container of all resources and application of the organization with the server or the department. There will be no cost, because when you create your free account with Azure, there will be no cost on the resources group, and it is logically managed. You need to just create, take subscription, give a name, give the location, the meta group and all tagging, and you can review and you can create it. Like this, we are having the in Azure capital and operational expenditure. What do you mean by that? Let's start with an example. So you are taking Ola or Uber, right? When you take a cab, so what you do, you just from the app of Ola or Uber, you book for your trip, and you pay whatever distance you have gone through. So that is, you are only paying for the operational, right? That is your operational expenditure. When you hire a Zoom car and you are going for a road trip or a long drive, so you are only paying whatever distance and the uses you are doing. You are only paying for the operational expenditure. But the organization, someone who is having this Zoom car, or the Ola or the Uber, what they are going to invest? They are investing on the capital expenditure. So here the capital expenditure is the Microsoft Azure, and we are using the operational expenditure. This is the very basic difference, you can say, for the capital expenditure and operational expenditure. I hope this is pretty clear. Like, what is capital expenditure? When we have our own car, we are maintaining that car, servicing everything, uses, and we are going to take care on a monetary basis of all the expenditure. That is your capital expenditure. And when we are paying only whatever based on the uses, that is our operational expenditure. What are the benefits on that? So in capital expenditure, upfront spending of money on a physical infrastructure will be there. It deducts the expense from your tax bill, and high upfront cost value of investment reduces over time, right? And in operational expenditure, you spend on services and the product as needed. You get billed immediately as per the uses, and you the you can say no upfront cost, and you pay as you use, right? So this is all about the resource group subscription and capital and operational expenditure. Advantages of cloud environment. So the high availability, scalability, and elasticity, agility, disaster recovery, geo distribution, security, fault tolerance, right? Yeah, the maintenance and the deployment. So these all are the advantages of cloud environment. Let's see one by one. So high availability is that service level agreement cloud based app can provide the continuous uses of the experience with no apparent downtime even things go wrong. So based on the SLA, the cloud app can provide the continuous user experience, and the downtime, even though the things will go wrong, downtime, they will give you the good experience. The, it will be having the high availability. The scalability, apps in the cloud can scale vertically and horizontally. So scale vertically is to increase the compute capacity by adding the RAM or the CPU to the virtual machine, and scale horizontally can increase compute capacity by adding instances to the resources, such as adding virtual machine to the configuration. Example, like when you say scale up, that is scale vertically, like 8 GB RAM you are using and you can increase to 16 GB RAM. Scale out, that is scale horizontally, right? And like that, you can actually uh, add the instances, and you can go with the VM configuration. When you are go with the vertical, you can go scale up and scale down, like you can go from 8 GB to 16 GB. You can also come up from 8 GB to 4 GB. You are scaling down, right? And horizontally, like scale out, that you are having a space on that and you need a more space, so accordingly you will create that space, right? Scale up, automatically it will give you a scale a space for that. It is very much similar to elasticity. So elasticity is that when you configure the cloud based app to take advantage of auto scaling, so your app will always have that resource that they need. So it will provide you that elasticity based on your uses. Agility, that deploy and configure cloud based resources quickly as your app requirement change. change. So in normal agile also, what is there, wherever change is required, you adapt and you go up with the changes and you do that. So in here also, in cloud, the agility, whatever deployment and configuration on a cloud based resources you are doing, it will go with the faster as your app requirement change, and it will be go adapt that. Geo distribution, you can deploy app and data to region data center around and globally. So thereby ensuring that your customer will always have the best performance in their region. So Azure we have already seen in the data center section that Azure has established their data center globally, and wherever data is required in whichever region, they are ensuring that customer will have the best performance. What is disaster recovery? So the advantage of cloud environment is the disaster recovery by taking advantage of cloud based backup service. So there is a having a plan for the backup, data replication and geo distribution. You can deploy your app will with the confidence and come from the following, that your data center is safe in the event of the disaster. The security, it is having a good security in cloud environment. The fault tolerance is that there is a risk to setup disturb, right? Migrating plan by the cloud. So if there is any disconnect in the internet what you're using, immediately it will take up and it will remove that disturbance. So customer latency capacity capabilities, if a customer or the experience is in a slow, then also it will be help you to pick up and go with that. Then predictive cost consideration, that every HTTP hit there will be adding a cost. So whatever you are using the internet, so in every hit it will add cost. So these are the benefits of the cloud environment. Now, the cloud computing is the consumption based model. So you are having your compute power, so such as the Linux server or a web application calculating and computing on a larger problem. So that is your compute power, and the compute services such as virtual machine and contain that can run with your application, that is your compute services. So when you are working on a larger computing, that is your compute power, larger problem, that's your compute power, and the services which you are going to provide on the virtual machine to run your application, that is your compute services. The storage, that hard disk and the larger space of the data center, such as the file and the databases you have. So the larger data center, it will give you the storage. The networking will be the secure connection between the cloud provider and your company. So it will be give you through the internet connection via all devices, and these services that connect to your data center to the cloud, HTTP connection, that will provide you high availability and host your DNS domain. So the analytics will be such as like visualizing temporary your performance, right? So it will visualize your the things before, and it will analyze data, text, image by the help of artificial intelligence and the machine learning, and the analytics will give you the visualizing the performance data, and it will help you. The data center is having the earth and deep into the ocean also. So this data center you will be having into the deep ocean, and the cooling cost will be there. So both SQL and non-SQL choices, and you will be having these advantage and benefit on the cloud consumption based model. So no upfront cost will be there, no need to purchase and manage the costly infrastructure. There will be ability to pay for the additional resources as they are needed, and ability to stop paying for the resources that are no longer needed. What is rehost, refactor, re-architect and rebuild? There are few concepts which is very much also important for your exam perspective. So rehost is lift and shift redeployment as is to cloud for a quick ROI, that is a return of investment, and freeing DC space least effort like IaaS. So they in when you're using this cloud and the services like the IaaS, PaaS and SaaS. So as PaaS SaaS, so it is having, you can redeploy to it for a quicker return of investment, and it is giving the free space, data center space, and least effort will be there, like the flexibility we have in IaaS. So that is your rehosting. You can do the redeployment. Refactor is uses of the code portability and the quicker update like container and pass it in migration and modernization. So when you're using the refactor, you can have the code portability and quicker, faster update. And you are whatever code you have written, so that you can be utilized in a many way, right? And what is re-architect? So alter or decompose the application to the services and enhance app scale and agility. So the elasticity you are using, the flexibility you have, the agility you have, the scalability you have. So re-architect, you can decompose the application and rebuild like PaaS, serverless and microservices. Rebuild, you can again write the new code with the cloud native approach to accelerate innovation, and you can use this app where will be a low coding things, and you can write the new code, and you can give your new approach to for the faster and innovative way, and that is your rebuild like PaaS, serverless and microservices again, and it is the cloud native. When we are talking on this, then you are having this cloud bursting. So a configuration that set up between a private cloud and a public cloud. And if 100% of resource capacity in private cloud is used, then the overflow traffic is directed to the public cloud. That is called, this is called cloud using cloud bursting, right? So you are having the overflow of traffic from the private cloud towards the public cloud. And this cloud computing, which is the delivery model for the computing resources, in which the server, application, data and other resources are integrated and provide a service over the internet. This only we understand. Then what is the database sharing in that, right? You are using so many benefits. We have seen this rehost, refactor, re-architect, rebuilt in the cloud computing. So here also we can see the database sharing, the type of partitioning that let you divide your larger database into the smaller database, which can be managed faster, more easily to the across server, right? We also have the you can say benefit of DevOps, where the development and operation team be together. So the practice of DevOps bring development and operation team together to speed up the software delivery and make the product more secure and reliable. And this serverless model, the PaaS, will differ from your virtual machine, and the container, in that you only pay for the processing time used by each function as it execute, your Azure function as it execute. The application, there will be no time, and it will get executed and you are paying only for that. The virtual machine and the container are charged while they are running, even if the application on them are ideal. So you are going to pay. When you are using virtual machine, you are going to pay, but even though the virtual machine and the container, it is ideal, but the other server and the services, whatever backend you are using, that you are, that running time, that you are going to pay on that. We will see in the next slide more on the virtual machine. To start with the free Azure account, let's click on the link portal.azure.com. You need to sign in with your Microsoft account or your GitHub account. So you are getting logged in, sign into portal.azure.com. Quickly create a resource. This is how you will create Microsoft Azure free account. So you can go today and sign up with portal.azure.com and explore. Here are the references. This video has been created, and the material and the content, we have taken help. So feel free, go to the azure.microsoft.com, create your free Azure account, go to doc.microsoft.com, gain knowledge and read all the documentation part if you are going with the certification. So this link, doc.microsoft.com, if you are going through in and out, read at least minimum 2 to 3 times. It will give you a good insight on that. It is a beginner guide on the, for the AZ-900 fundamental, and it is going to give you the full insight and help you to pass the certification exam. The third link I have given on the same for doc.microsoft.com, the where the Microsoft Azure has given a beginner guide, and you can have a look on that. So the first two link, if you explore, you will get the entire thing, and it is going to cover. Thank you so much, and please like and subscribe my channel. See you very soon.